All right. Welcome, everyone. We'll go ahead and we'll get started. And as more folks join us, we'll welcome them along the way. And for those of you who are here for the first time, just know our agenda is a little bit longer today, just because we're right at the end of the year. So we'll go through these things. If you have questions, you can interrupt me. Feel free to do that, or you can type them in the chat box and I'll watch the chat at the same time. So we'll go from there. So just for those of you that are new online with us today, the purpose of the Parent Advisory Committee is so that we can gather input and feedback and share information out for major things that are happening in the program. So it's an opportunity for you to share and have conversation with us, as well as for us to share some of the things that are happening within Raven. Just so everybody knows, the student recognitions, I talked with Richard, the school board secretary, this morning, and he said that he has all of those, and those will be mailed out to each one of the offices. So if you had a student or know a student that was submitted for recognition, just know that those are on their way. He said some of them would be mailed today and some of them would be mailed tomorrow. So just when they arrive at the office, then you'll have to work on getting them distributed out to the families. So know that that's there. Parental involvement and program improvement. I know that they are in process with working on a survey that will have some program improvement questions. Anytime you have recommendations or things like that, we're always looking to get that information and gather that up so we can continue to make Raven what parents want it to be. Parental involvement, this will be a little bit harder right now because we're still under the COVID-19 health mandates. Those have not been lifted yet for schools. So the typical activities and things that we would plan in the summertime, families will wind up having to do those independently. If you need ideas or if you have families that need ideas, feel free to reach out to those family liaisons, the admin staff. They all have lists of things that they can share for exciting things to do in each one of the communities. As far as communication goes, we're still going to be using the email and SMORE throughout the summer. Your teachers and counselors will still continue to be in contact with you over the summer. And then, of course, family liaisons, admins, whenever you need their assistance, reach out to them. Office visits are not yet allowed because of the current health mandates. We don't have a concrete plan at this point as to when that's going to be reinstated. So once we find out, then we'll be sure to get that out to all of the families. I put all of the administrative staff and family liaisons, I matched them all up in the agenda so everybody could see who's where, because I hadn't done that before. So you have that list if you have a copy of the agenda. If you don't have a copy of the agenda, just reach out. Someone can send that to you so you'll know who is at which office. Sorry, I was stopping to read the chat to see if there was any questions in there. Good ideas in there. Other parental involvement opportunities. Some of the offices are doing virtual coffee chats. They vary by office, so just check with the office that you attend if there's one there that you'd like to attend. And those are strictly for parents and usually run by the family liaison, so that there's typically no staff there. So you guys get to chat about whatever you want to talk about. The Teen Leadership Council, I had some conversation with Megan earlier in the week, and I know she's planning on moving the time frame for that one. It was Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 o'clock, and I don't know if they have finalized the new time frame for that. So when she gets that finalized, I know she's planning on sending out a s'more flyer for it. The Quarantinis chat, same thing. They have been meeting once a week, and I know that they were looking at maybe adjusting their time for summer as well. So again, be on the lookout if you have students that are participating in that And then I know that there's our individual office hours and things like that at each one of the offices. So as you need that assistance, just be watching for the communication that comes out so you have all of those times for your specific offices. Fundraising and the school store. I put the link in the agenda for the Cafe Press for the Raven branded items. They have updated some of those items, so if you'd like to purchase those, you can go in and do that. It's an easy way to get those things. The incentive for this year for re-enrollment is that each one of the students that is re-enrolled will be getting their very own Raven t-shirt. So there is a process for that, and we're not all the way through that process yet. So just know that as those families come in, they'll have the opportunity to get those t-shirts for each one that is enrolled. Looking at other opportunities for raising money, I know some of the offices collect box tops, not all of them do. I know that I believe all offices are signed up for the Fred Meyer Community Rewards, and a special thank you to Megan for doing that. Megan out of the Anchorage office set that all up for us last year. And then I'm not sure, I believe some offices, but I don't think all of them are set up for the Cars Safeway Community Rewards. So admins, if that's something that you're interested in doing for your office, you just have to let us know, and if whatever we need to get you for that, you can do that as well. Does everybody know how those community rewards programs work? Okay. Hearing no questions and seeing no questions in the chat, I'll keep going. The school board monthly recognition, I already talked about that. The other thing that will be going out this week, I believe, is the Raven Scholarship announcement. So all of our seniors that graduated this year had the opportunity to apply for the Raven scholarships. I believe there were 4 that were to be given out this year, and the review process has been completed for that. And so now it's time to notify those students so that they know that they have access to that and how to access that. And that's a great piece if you're talking with families, and oftentimes this time of year they're doing the comparison between programs, and we're one of the few programs that offers a scholarship specifically for Raven enrolled students. So that's a great piece to share with families, especially if they have those high school kids. Re-enrollment and enrollment, our numbers are looking good and they're climbing. The last report that I have, what were we at? We are at 1,217, I think is what it was. Nope, 1,277. So if those numbers keep growing like that, then we should be doing fine. If you are out and about in the community and people ask you about homeschool and that kind of stuff, feel free to share. Also know that we are putting together a Raven webinar. And so if you have families that just want to come and learn about homeschool and learn about what Raven offers for homeschool, that webinar is going to be June 9th. At 3 o'clock, and C3 is going to be helping us do some advertising for that so that it gets out into the community and we can make sure that everybody knows about it. In addition, for this next year, for re-enrollment and enrollment type items, the one-to-one computer piece is going to stay. In addition, we have added an iPad option that is now available for families because that was a frequently requested item from families. So for those of you that have made those requests, thank you, and we are listening. And we have multiple Eagle River families on today. So a quick Eagle River move update. We got everything moved over to the new office on the 21st, which was last Thursday. And now staff just have to spend some time going in, putting things away, getting things organized in the new space. It is beautiful new space. Right there on Business Boulevard, across from the park, next to Alaska Club and the library, and it's just a really, really nice location. So hopefully you guys will get to enjoy that this next year for all the activity space that you have. That'll be a huge plus. Deadline reminders, May 31st for fourth quarter grades, June 10th for your May-June internet and encumbered funds receipts. And then if you have new orders, just remember those will not be able to be processed until after July 1st, which you can submit your June internet then as well. Looking forward to next year, it looks like we're still going to be using many of the electronic processes that we have implemented since the COVID-19 stuff started. And like I said earlier, until those health mandates are lifted, we're going to kind of be stuck in this mode. So if you have ideas, suggestions, tips, tricks, whatever that you want to share with us that you think could make it better for staff or families, just let us know, because we are open to hearing what you have to say. Summer activities. I know usually in the summer, like the Wasilla office usually does field trip Fridays. So just know that, if you want to continue that individually as families, you're welcome to do that. As staff, we are not going to be able to organize those group activities. We don't have, as far as the opening of school, as you think of the typical opening of school we usually do a picnic or something like that. Right, as of right now, we're not able to do that, but if that changes, then we'll let everyone know, because I know that those are always fun get-togethers and welcome back and get to meet new families and all those kinds of things. So we'll keep you guys posted on as to what changes are coming there when they do come. And now I've spent all this time talking. So now what I'd like to do is I'd like one from each office, whether it's the family liaison or a teacher or whoever. You guys will have to argue amongst yourselves for that one, to tell me one great thing that's been happening at your office that you have enjoyed. So who would like to start? I'll give you that option.
Well,
you start if you want, Mom. Okay, so we had our graduation last week at the Wedgwood at a gazebo outside, and we had everybody come in 15-minute intervals, and our families really liked it. It was a big hit. We had perfect weather. We had a family, the O'Rears, that helped set up with the flowers and stuff. It was just absolutely gorgeous. Tracy was on here. She worked her butt off on decoration. She's so good at that, way better than me. So that went off without a hitch, and we heard such good feedback. We might consider doing something like that again next year. So that's our good news.
It'll be great to see pictures when you guys get to that point where you can share them with everyone. Monique,
we
was
have
that
a few
you?
on our Facebook page?
Okay.
Sure. I was just going to say our graduation had a few wrinkles in it, but with the Jumbotron, but man, that didn't even, it didn't seem that students or parents or whoever were in their two vehicles that they got to have there at the racetrack minded one bit. They were so excited. There was good participation with horn honking. I don't know how many of you remember cowbells at games, sporting events back in the day. Well, kind of reminded me of that, except on a much louder scale. And I've just continued to receive positive feedback via email or phone call or whatever. So anyway, and the weather also was probably just perfect. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too windy. The mosquitoes managed to only bite us a little bit. Beautiful backdrop. It was fabulous. So anyway, that would be a shout out from Wasilla.
I'll go since it's another graduation highlight. But we also had our graduation last week, and despite being different than a typical graduation, we had a drive-in, semi-drive-in, kind of one family at a time would walk up, and it went beautifully. Everything came together. The families all each had a slideshow of their children up on this giant screen. It was awesome. And watching the families kind of all celebrate together, but separately from everyone else, it was a lot of fun. So
It was a lot of fun. I got to go to that one. That big screen was really big.
yeah, it was cool.
Here in Juneau, we haven't had our graduation yet. That will be tonight in just a couple of hours. So we are looking forward to being able to share the success story next time. But we are looking forward to a virtual ceremony that we are doing live with all of our graduates joining us on BlueJeans like we're on our meeting now, and also broadcasting to Facebook Live so that all their family and friends can watch live at the same time from their separate locations. So we're looking forward to that. And then we've also been continuing to do virtual show and tell and share time once a week. We're still doing the virtual scavenger hunts. We just wrapped up one with a theme of a virtual vacation and traveling all around the world and doing that kind of stuff. So pretty soon I'll put together a video of that after graduation stuff is done, and show off all the fun pictures and places that people visited in unique virtual ways, and then plan on another one coming up in a week or so.
So Jolie or Megan, do you guys want to add anything for Eagle River?
I was told to do a walkthrough. Wait, so.
Oh, you're in the office today.
Yeah, I could stand it. There's things unpacked. So, the video works. So I did it on the VTC. This is our big teaching room with all the stuff that we moved in. Walking around. Here's one office. Waiting for our new furniture. So we set all the furniture together, but it's just there. Here is another office space that we've temporarily labeled it as itinerant, so that like when special ed's here or something like that. This room, I don't know if you can see, I'm trying to see things. That's gonna be kind of for our high school kids, like if they come in and do work, or they need to hang out because their littles are in classes. Again, it feeds right onto the big room. And this is, we think, going to be the teacher's office. Kim, our Raven sign fell down, so I had to redo it today. But you can see them pretty well. So this is the front door. We have a teeny tiny little drop thing, which is an upgrade for us. But it's a tiny little drop box. So this would be walking in the front door. And yes, I vacuumed some stuff from the movers. So that will be, hopefully this will be our reception area where we'll have a reception desk or two. And then that door is what feeds into the big room. And then if you go this way, we think we're going to designate this space, which has just got counters in. It's got more stuff from the movers. They just moved it in and waiting for furniture, so it's not going to get unpacked. But kind of like a kid's room for little kids. When parents are here with their older kids that are in class, they'll be able to have some toys in there. We have this kitchenette area because it's got this really huge kitchen sink It's like gigantic.
Like Wasilla.
At least you have a sink. It's way better than what you had before.
That is true. Very, very true. All right. So then if you come back down this hallway, there's a bathroom up in that kitchen area, and then there's another bathroom. Just what you want to see is the bathroom. But the cool thing is, just like Wasilla, it has a shower.
Nice, except you don't have that little TV that's weird. I don't know why that's in our office, a bathroom.
I don't. So, and then this will probably be like a curriculum library, I don't know, storage area. So it'll be a nice big storage area. So that's kind of it.
I think you guys need a window in the room you're going to use for the little kids when other people are in their meetings or whatever, so that you can see
So
them.
we've already looked, and I've already figured out one of the storage room doors can be switched with this door. And those of you that know me would know that I literally stood there with my hands on the door and walked and did the same door. So, yeah, we can put a door on that. We can put some kid gates in to help prevent them from going too far. But that's where we got. So it's nice and bright in here. So I'm really happy because my other office was actually a little dark. So that's it. That's going to be a storage area with no kids. Because it's got our tech stuff, our fuse panels, and this door actually has a window in it, so we'll 12 screws and we'll move it. So that's all I got, Kim.
Yes, we're very thankful. We got beautiful new space in Eagle River. Now we just have to get it all organized and ready, and hopefully they'll lift the health mandates so everybody can come in and visit and see it for themselves. Other than that, any questions, concerns, comments, anything that we need to be thinking about?
I have a quick one, unless Mandy wants to bring this up. Because we're not in the office and seeing people, is reminding parents that they can start their ILPs now, that they should call their advisory teacher and set up a meeting to do that, because it'll most likely be done virtually. And then all high schoolers get a hold of Megan too. And it's, for Eagle River, it's kind of a crazy place to be because we're changing teachers. So if you have any questions or anything like that, then let us know and we'll try and get that resolved.
Yes, so for families wanting to do those ILP meetings, they can set those up individually with their teachers at this point. Just have to reach out, and I know that teachers will be reaching out if they haven't been already to set up some of those meetings, because I know some teachers have been doing quite a few of those ILP meetings as they're closing out grades and stuff as well. So if that's something that's on your radar and you would like to do, you are more than welcome to reach out, and staff can help you with that process. And then just the last piece that I wanted to highlight a little bit about, if there weren't any other questions or anything.
I actually have a question.
Go ahead.
For those of us who do our orders through Raven, normally, are we just screenshotting carts and sending item numbers to, like if it's Rainbow Resource or et cetera, to our admin to start ordering in July? Or how are, I mean, because normally we fill out the forms, we give them to them. I just want to make sure that our families know what we need to do going forward, since we're a little not in the office and doing it how we've done it in the past.
So the easiest way to do that, Mandy, at this time is when you do your ILP with your teacher, let them know that you've got things you want ordered. And what I've been having my families do is they email me their carts, and then I put that I attach their cart to the purchase order and put my approval on the purchase order, and then I'm giving it to the admin so that they have it and can begin the process of entering it into iVisions as soon as the stuff for the next school year is set up. So once the business office has the iVisions for 2021 all set up, then they'll be able to go and enter those orders so that they'll all be ready to go right at the beginning of the year. Did that make sense?
Yep. Is it possible for that to be sent out in the past? Well, we've talked before, but in the past, communication as far as getting that stuff straight across isn't always the best. So if we could have it outlined for some of our families, I know that I've had a couple people ask me about it, and just want to make sure that they know what to do.
So would it work then for us to create some type of I'm thinking a s'more flyer just because that's what we use all the time that kind of outlines that process?
I think so. I mean, I think some of the families are just a little lost as to what to do. I mean, they have, the offices typically have a huge library of curriculum and things that they can check out to see if it's going to work for them. Not being able to get into an office is kind of limiting them with what they can, hands-on look and see if that's going to work for their specific kiddo. So I think that would probably be beneficial to some of the families, especially the newer families who, don't have that connection with the office.
Yes, and then I know that we also have, I know Holly did one, and I believe Joy has one, and I'm not sure which other offices have them, but an electronic, like a reference sheet for curriculum that gives you just a generic overview of the different ones that are available that you can purchase because they're vendors, so that you don't have to pay for those out of pocket. So we'll get that gathered up, and we can include that in the process.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you for the idea.
Just for parents, just so you know, like the process. So the ILPs have to be done. All the paperwork needs to be done, signed, all that good stuff. Teachers got to sign off on it. They give it to us to activate. You guys get activated. Then the business office pulls reports, and as people are activated and funds, then they deposit the funds into iVisions. As orders come in, they're processed in the order that we receive them. And just so y'all keep in mind, it's a super busy time of year. So even though we might get your orders, say July 1 or June 28 or whatever, and we can activate you after you've been closed off for the previous year or whatever, there's still that time, right? So just don't expect magic poof orders to appear the first week of July, second week of July, even the third week of July, just based on volume, right?
No, and we all understand that. I think the biggest thing for us is that we have had a lot of changeover in our office, and it's just making sure that we have consistency and that our families know what to do. I mean, this is my 8th year with Raven, and so I understand the process. I just want to make sure that those families that are newer are getting the help that they need to get what they need and be successful for the year.
Just a quick comment, Mandy. My name is Joy, and one thing that I tell my families is when you send an order in, whether it's a cart or things written in an email, make sure that you say, please confirm that you have received this. I always tell them to do me a favor if you would do that, because every once in a while, especially at the volume at that time of year, things do get shuffled a little bit. I find that my emails, some of them come in the day after they were supposed to come in. So I know that something like an order is extremely important. And so what you want to do is hold on to it and either say, please confirm that you got this, or have it understood with the admin there. that they would say, hey, I got this. And if you don't receive that, yes, I got this, and I'll review and get back to you if I need to. But look for that confirm. Otherwise, don't assume it's getting done without that, yes, I did receive this.
All right, any other questions? I know the processes will be just a little bit different as long as the health mandates are in place, so we can make sure that we're just being extra diligent with our communication, and I think that will help for most people. The last piece that I have that I just want to leave everybody with, and just to be thinking about as we're getting ready to start the new year, and that is the strategic planning goals that Raven has, and they do coincide with the district level goals. But they're just good things to be mindful of, at whether we're in that role of parent, or whether we're in the role of teacher, or whether we're in one of the support roles, whether it's admin or family liaison or counselor, whatever your role is. And that's that we want all of our children, no matter what grade level, is we want them to start strong. So we're wanting to make sure that they have those good solid foundations at that pre-K through third grade level. So if you have children in those grades and there's something you're struggling with, please reach out, because we're here to be able to help you with those things. And there are many, many special resources and things out there that we have access to, as long as we know what support is needed and can have that conversation to be able to make sure that every individual learning plan is set up for that individual child to be successful long term. So that's one to keep in mind. The second one, and this can vary with some kids, but it's the read by third grade piece. We know that if students are reading by third grade, that is a huge plus, because that fourth grade year is that transition where they go from learning to read to reading to learn. And so if we can make sure that we're putting together that extra time so that all of those kids are doing well with their reading by then, whatever extra support is necessary, it's just a matter of reaching out and making sure that those pieces are in place for those children, whether it's supplemental tutoring, whether it's a supplemental program like Lexia. There are lots and lots of options out there for kids to be able to make sure that they are good, solid readers by that fourth grade time period. The third item on this list is the graduate ready. Each year, our graduation rate fluctuates based on how the state calculates that. The goal is for every student to graduate from high school in 4 years. We know that we have some students, they need an extra year. That's just the way their life is, and they need that extra time and support. So, but the most important piece is to make sure that they have the skills and everything in their tool bag that they need to be successful at that next step. So if they're going on to college, we want to make sure that they're ready for that next step. If they're going into the military, we want to make sure that they score well on that ASVAB so that they get the choice of jobs that they want. If they're going into a career and technical field, we want to make sure that their electives are geared towards that while they're in high school, so that they can potentially complete some of the work that is needed for them to get those industry certifications, and that they are ready to go right into that work field. So be thinking of those things as you're putting together ILPs for whether it's for your own children, whether you're helping other families. Those really are the big bullet target goals that we want to try to accomplish with each one of our students, because it really is important. We want them to be successful. We want them to feel confident in what they're doing and in the next steps that they're taking. It was really great to see that level of confidence in our graduates at the graduations, because last week I did 2 graduations and then the Eagle River move in the span of 3 days. So, as did a few other staff that are on here. So, that really is a time when you get to see that putting together those quality ILPs, making sure that the kids have quality support, whether it's provided by the family, whether it's something supplemental that we put together with Raven, whether we're working with vendors through tutoring, whatever the case may be. It really is great to see the culmination of all that work when kids graduate and they are ready for those next steps. So just be thinking of those things. They're always important. And I know sometimes, we get into that day-to-day grind and we forget about those long-term planning goals. So just a reminder there. Are there any other questions, comments, concerns? And then the last question I have, and I'll give you that, and then I'll stop talking and let you guys chat for a little bit. And that is, do we want to we've been doing this meeting every month since we started with the COVID-19 stuff. And I don't know if you want to do one again next month, or if you want to skip June and have one in July. So let's have a little conversation and see what you guys think is best.
Okay, I guess since nobody else will say anything, I will. I think that the PAC meetings, the district wides, I think need to be probably every other month. That works, I think. But I think having an outline. One of my other questions, let me put it this way. One of my other questions was what the district has in place should the health mandates not be lifted going into the school year. So do we have, like, for instance, Matt Subaro has put out, these are our 3 options. One, we're either doing in school, we're doing a combination, or we're doing all district learning. Granted, we are a homeschool, but what has our district put out to say this is what we are going to do? Because I think one of the things that normally our office had done by this point was plan what activities we were doing in office. Because of this stuff, none of that had been done. I mean, we have a general, I think, idea of what clubs and things like that, but it's kind of hard to say we need to have another PAC if we don't have an idea of where, I mean, granted, the state is controlling all of this, but where everything is going or what all of the options are. If we're going to be doing a straight distance for all of the stuff we've done in office normally, then that changes how we do some of our, or how we may approach our school year. And I think kind of having parents having an idea going forward, or at least this is what it may look like, would help some of us who are planners, me. I'm sure there's a few other parents that aren't on here that are the same way. I just think that would be helpful maybe for families to see also.
And I can answer that in brief. And Patty, if you're on, feel free to join in. But from my understanding, our superintendent is working on some plans as to what it might look like, not only for the river schools, but for Raven as well. So I know that those things are in the works. What the exact timeline is for releasing that information, I do not know. But I do know that she is working on those things. So there should be more coming.
Right, Kim, we are working on it. I think June 1st, I think I've heard that date that we should have a plan ready, but they've given us direction on kind of creating 3 things, like you said. I think it was Matt Sue, you said, a low risk, a medium risk, and a high risk. Though they haven't given us parameters what constitutes a low risk, medium risk, and high risk, but we've asked for that. But coming up with those 3 scenarios, and of course we know it's not a perfect world, there's probably 120 scenarios out there, but coming up with that low, medium, and high risk and what it would look like in the different areas of Raven and our river schools. So hopefully that will be coming out soon, and we will share the information once we have that. Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you. Thank you, Patty. And for those of you that are new online this time and missed our conversation last time, Patty is our new director for Raven. So welcome to her.
Thank you.
So I have a question. Sorry, I also have kids screaming in the background, and a dog barking. So would it be appropriate if the Eagle River office goes ahead and meets in June and we do a proactive plan that kind of, instead of reactive, do our general planning like we would, and then kind of taking what we've learned and create a secondary plan in case we hit those other two levels? Would that be a reasonable thing to do so that we can be proactive if this flares up again instead of reactive?
Yeah, that's a great idea, Becky. And so just so everybody knows, because I know Becky was cutting out a little bit, but what she was asking is, can we be proactive and set up a plan ahead of time? And the answer is yes. We can always be proactive and put those plans in place and know that you want to have these clubs, know that you want to have these activities, and just know that how you deliver those clubs or how those activities are implemented is what might change based on the high, medium, or low level of risk. So yeah, that's a great way to do that.
And we should have more information maybe before that meeting. Becky, do you have a date already for that meeting, or?
I don't believe we do, and I think Jolie is asking parents in the chat bar as we speak if they'd be interested in it. So I kind of jumped the gun a little bit there.
That's fine.
Actually,
but no, it really works well for each one of the offices if you do that pre-planning, because then you can kind of figure out which teachers are going to facilitate what, where you need to get an outside vendor to help you. If you have a family that, a parent that really has a passion for something and they want to take that activity on, there are lots of options on ways to do that. And the sooner you get started with the planning, the more smoothly those things will take place and the more smoothly your implementation will be, even if you have last minute changes based on a high, low, or medium COVID-19 type risk. So yes, pre-planning is always a great thing in homeschool.
In that, Becky, we kind of are doing that. We're working on setting the calendar up for at least the first semester, the first quarter. And what we could do to aid in that is say, with each activity, that what would happen to that activity at the different levels. So if we're wide open, this is how this activity would go. If we're restricted to here, this is how it'll be. And if we're completely restricted, it'll probably be canceled. But we could list that out in the calendar, so when you guys go look at it, you'll have an idea of what's coming. Would that be beneficial?
I saw a thumbs up there.
Yes, and I think I might be cutting out. I'm looking at my internet. It's poor. But yes, very beneficial, because I write a lot of that into my my curriculum, and so as long as I have, and I think a lot of other people do, like if I've just done a 2-hour science with Miss Fancher, I count that, or I try to base some science lessons around that, and so it gives me the chance also to prepare. Thank you.
All right, and then just remember that each office is a little bit different. So some of you might want to do that planning now. For some of you, that planning might be, another month or two down the road, depending on where each one of your offices is at. There's nothing that requires you to to do all that right this instant, but just know that it does make it easier when you do that planning, and we know that it does vary by office. So, you know, whatever works for your individual office and the parents in that office is what works and therefore appropriate. We've made it all the way through our agenda. I heard one person say maybe skip a month and do the next PAC meeting, not in June, but in July, as we're starting off the new year. I'm not sure who's going to be the leader for that PAC meeting. So Patty, that would be a decision you'll get to make. Because this, for most of you probably don't know, but this will be my last PAC meeting. So I'll leave the next one, whatever date we decide on. Patty can get that information out to you guys. Holly usually sends out the link for everyone, and then she runs the meeting with the recording and all of that. So if you guys have more questions, we're happy to stay on and answer those. If there are no more questions, then we have completed our conversation for the day. All right,
So do we want to set that for the last Wednesday? Do you usually do the last Wednesday of the month and do the last Wednesday of July? Is that, I'd like to just go ahead and get the date down. Oops.
Yeah, we've been doing the last Wednesday of the month. And that's been for a number of years.
July 29th. Does that sound good to everyone?
I'm wondering, there's an in-service day on the calendar at the end of July, but I can't remember the date of it. So you might want to double check that one. But if there's no in-service on that day, Patty, it should work fine.
All right, we'll double check that and we'll send the notice out.
Yep. And we'll send it out just like we have been. So you'll get a s'more flyer with a notification, and then Holly will send out the calendar invite for everyone else, and with the Zoom link and everything in it. Or I'm sorry, BlueJeans link and everything in it. All right, if there's no other questions, you guys, Holly, you can stop the recording, and then if anybody wants to stay on and visit, you can stay on and visit too. It looks really sunny in Juneau because I can see Teresa